you go, Scott. Scott, go the rest of it. This park was during the 1840s, right?
Started, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's the second oldest continually operating amusement park.
It would have been, yeah. Lake compounds.
Yeah.
Now.
The flume. Remember that? The corkscrew, the flume. The dodgems. I remember we had Ronald Reagan there one year, and he couldn't pack the hall. We had to put those, what do you call them, those curtains up in order to, it was before he was president, obviously.
Cianci, what was Rocky Point?
Rocky Point was a destination for young and old for many years. It was a place to go to get a shore dinner hall. It was a place to go to ride a ride and get all excited about being involved in family entertainment. That was, of course, a different time, a different place in American cultural history in its past. It was is long gone now. With the high tech that we have today and all the rest, it isn't, I guess it just outgrew its time, or the time passed it by. But it certainly is a historic place, and one I remember as a kid. I remember going there with my mother. I remember her lifting me into the little boats that used to go around in the circles. I remember going there on outings and swimming in what was then, I think, the largest swimming pool you could possibly imagine in the world then. That was back many years ago, before you were born. And I can remember riding the rides. They're the dodgems, and I can remember the more not dangerous, the more exciting rides, I guess, which was the flume, the corkscrew, all those kinds of things. And I remember they had a rocket kind of ship that two things that looked like rockets that spun. I don't know why I even rode on them, but I remember I used to get a big kick out of it. And then there were all the games and all the different, they had the House of Horrors or whatever it was, but I've been in many of those since then. But I remember also the fortune tellers and the hawkers and the saltwater taffy and the clam cakes. You could always get clam cakes. And actually, it's a place of many great memories as a kid. And there were groups that would go down there as outings, Boy Scout troops. I remember my mother used to belong to a group called the Women's Youth League, and they'd take us down there once every summer. As a matter of fact, when I got into politics, it meant something a little different for me. It meant being able to raise money in a large hall. It was the largest hall available at that time in the state of Rhode Island that I can recall. And they had I think there was the Windjammer and the Palladium, the Windjammer Lounge and the Palladium. And it was also a place that entertained a number of very, very well-known political figures, national political figures. I can remember before he was president, Ronald Reagan came. And I remember sitting at the head table, and I remember that they didn't sell enough tickets because it was a massive place, and they had to put curtains up to block off part of the hall so it wouldn't look empty. I remember having large events before election, and it was kind of incongruous because the place was in Warwick, and I was running for mayor of Providence, so we had to go to Warwick to find a place big enough in those days to host a fundraiser or a party that would accommodate the kinds of people that would attend, you know, the numbers of people that would attend. President Ford was a visitor there, I believe. I believe that many Democratic candidates were visitors there for presidency. But it was the place to go, and you know, it's not an easy place to get to if you're from the central part of the state or the northern part of the state, because it's way out there on the neck, and it's a beautiful piece of property. And I guess that's what gives it the mystique that it's always had. It was on the bay, it was on the water. You got that cool breeze, and you had that salt air, and it was almost being in another world. It was almost like not being. It was almost every time you went there, you felt you were on vacation.
Good. Tell me, what was your favorite ride, you think?
I used to like the Dodgems. I don't know if you remember what they were, but they were little cars, and they had a big long stem that went up to the roof, and I guess that was how it was powered, through electricity. and you could, they had these big rubber, bumpers, and they were kind of bumper cars that you would call them. And you'd just get on one side of this big area, and you'd go with your buddy who was maybe you were 10 or 11 years old, and he got the greatest kick out of staging head-on collisions. That was a wonderful experience for all of us. There was that, and then there was I guess there were many rides that I took on as a kid. The rocket ship that went up around and around. Those are the kinds of things that you never forget as you grow up, and those are great memories. But of course, as I said, the other memories I have are the massive crowds that used to assemble there to go to the political fundraisers. The fellow who I knew down there was, I think he's passed on now, was Conrad Friller. He ran that park for years, and I'll never forget. He'd take me around. I'd have events there for kids from Providence, and I'd have events there for even fundraisers in the park itself. And we'd buy a tickets so they could go on all the rides. And I can remember Conrad Friller used to drive around a little moped, a little baby motorcycle there, and I'd get on the back of his motorcycle or moped, and we'd ride around the park together. And he loved that place, and he made it work. But I guess as time went on, things changed, people's attitudes changed, people's entertainment desires changed, and so the place went into some disrepair. I think back in the 90s, they closed up for taxes, and then I guess they reopened, but then the place just was shut down, and it's a wonderful opportunity. But no matter what happens there, or no matter what they do with it, whether it becomes open space for the city of Warwick or the state of Rhode Island, or whether it becomes a place for condominiums or whatever, homes, they should always try to preserve some sort of a memory of that place and what it meant to the generations of Rhode Islanders who were able to enjoy themselves, and it's part of their past, and so it should be preserved for future generations to look back and remember what Rhode Island was like in those days.
Good. Anything else? Yeah, you touched upon everything.
You got it all?
I didn't have to ask anything.
All right.
That was awesome.
You're not like these guys out here.
Can we get to that one?